3I/Atlas is now entering Mars's orbit. This is no longer a prediction. The object is hurtling through the inner solar system.
And its surrounding coma expanding with each passing day. It is set to pass closer than any other interstellar object has ever approached one of our neighboring planets. And yet, in the face of this extraordinary event, NASA remains almost silent. Only a handful of scattered technical updates, buried deep in hard-to-find archives, confirm the orbit but say nothing about its implications or the questions it raises. This is not an ordinary fragment of cosmic debris. From the moment it crossed Jupiter's orbit, 3I/Atlas began behaving in ways that defy our expectations of a natural body. It brightened earlier than predicted, and its trajectory through the planetary system carries an uncanny sense of intent, as though guided with strange precision. Now, with Mars directly ahead, we on Earth watch as our probes prepare to track it. The satellites orbiting the red planet have already turned their spectrometers and cameras toward Atlas. The James Webb Space Telescope has captured its spectral signature, while Hubble follows the dust cloud. And still the question remains: why is NASA silent when an object from beyond the stars is sweeping so close? The orbit of 3I/Atlas now raises not only questions of origin, but of purpose. It is not simply passing through, it is orchestrating. An object older than the planets it now glides past, yet it cuts across the solar system in an almost linear sequence, with flyby points calculated to a degree of accuracy difficult to believe even for human-made spacecraft. Everything is too neat, too finely tuned, to be dismissed as coincidence. And still, there are no global press conferences, no official briefings. Information trickles out only through observatories, buried mission logs, or anonymous academic forums. Some data have leaked. Satellite images from Mars, infrared traces recorded by Webb, and even an unusual spike in CO2 within the dust coma. But no one is piecing them together into a coherent picture. In response, the instruments around Mars have altered their observation schedules. Mars Express and the Trace Gas Orbiter have adjusted sensors to search for water ice, organic compounds, and anomalous isotope ratios. This is no longer a hunt for beauty, it is a hunt for anomalies. Because its coma is unlike that of ordinary comets. The dust is denser, disperses more slowly, and the tail at times appears to be pushed away from the sun by some force science cannot yet explain. Hubble continues to capture images of the outer dust shell. Though visually unremarkable, they reveal something strange. A mismatch between the estimated size of the nucleus and the sheer amount of material erupting from it. Either the core is far larger than we think, or some internal mechanism is operating with unusual intensity. A few researchers have offered hypotheses: hidden thermal pockets, unstable chemical reactions, or the sublimation of an unidentified compound. Others remain silent, whether out of caution or by directive. Yet their silence coincides with a critical moment. As Atlas nears Mars, Earth's vantage point is slipping away. In just a few days, 3I/Atlas will slip behind the Sun from Earth's vantage point. It will enter a phase of invisibility, precisely at the moment it is predicted to become most active. The very period when extreme transformations, or even disintegration, are most likely to occur, is also the time when our ability to observe it will be at its weakest. For Earth, it will vanish. From Mars, Atlas will still be visible, but the data relayed back will arrive delayed, fragmented, and filtered. This raises a direct question. If 3I/Atlas is truly just a comet, why has it chosen an almost optimal trajectory? Why did it brighten so prematurely, unlike any other body of its kind? And why is its orbital inclination only 5 degrees from the planetary plane, almost perfectly aligned with the launch corridor humanity uses to send probes to distant worlds? That cannot simply be coincidence. Some scientists have begun referring to this path as a celestial corridor, eerily identical to the carefully engineered flight paths of our own spacecraft. This very overlap is what unsettles so many. And then came a controversial voice. An astrophysicist from Harvard who once stirred debate by suggesting that Oumuamua might have been a form of probe, has now revived the same argument with Atlas. He points to the calculated sequence of flybys, the anomalous retrograde motion, the spectral irregularities. He has even urged mission planners to alter the course of existing spacecraft to intercept Atlas, specifically proposing the Juno probe orbiting Jupiter. But his call has gone unanswered. Official agencies remain firm in their stance. Atlas is only a comet, a traveler from some distant star system. Strange properties, yes, but ultimately just an ancient shard of ice and rock. No threat, no mystery, and certainly no reason for panic. But then again, they once insisted Oumuamua was nothing more than a rock until it changed course without explanation. Now, 3I divided by Atlas is closing in on Mars. Its dust coma continues to glow, while its chemical signals shift day by day. And still, silence endures. Yet, silence itself can sometimes be a kind of message, a deliberate pause, in a place where explanation should exist. If it truly is only a comet, a harmless drifting relic, why does it feel as if it is watching us? From Mars, every lens is fixed upon it. From orbit, from the ground, from every packet of data, everything is trained on a phantom that should not be here at all. Something ancient is approaching, and those who hold the most data are the very ones who remain the quietest. What we are witnessing does not fit the models. Atlas was supposed to be inert, indifferent, frozen. But the numbers say otherwise: irregular, illogical, and almost alive. The greatest telescopes of humankind, James Webb and Hubble, are both locked onto it. Webb, peering into the infrared, detects organic compounds, silicate minerals, and intact carbon molecules, materials that should have been destroyed long ago, yet are preserved as if shielded from time itself. Hubble captures the shifting veil of dust, faint, unstable, flickering with light in no discernible pattern. And then there is the tail, a structure that not only reflects sunlight but carries within it a motion beyond our current understanding. Normally, a comet's tail is forced to curve away from the sun under the pressure of solar radiation. But with 3I divided by Atlas, part of its dust stream bends inward, as if resisting that force. The dust grains are heavier, slower. Some suggest these are simply unusually large particles. Yet others insist the trajectory is too clean, too precise, more deliberate than accidental. From Mars, the spectrometers aboard Mars Express and the Trace Gas Orbiter have detected CO2, diatomic carbon, and other volatile compounds. But these gases do not escape in a steady flow. Instead, they appear and vanish in pulses. The data looks cyclical, like a mechanism at work, even resembling a kind of breathing. Its brightness is another mystery. Atlas flared too early, well before crossing the frost line, where solar heat is sufficient to vaporize ice. Now, as it draws closer to the sun, its light fluctuates, flickering, fading, then bursting back to brilliance. This is not the signature of a body being passively heated. It is not passive. It is erratic. It is different. The size of its nucleus has also been repeatedly revised. Once thought to be just a few kilometers across, estimates now approach nearly 10 kilometers in diameter. A greater mass might explain some anomalies, but not all. What unsettles scientists is not only what it is made of, but where it is going. Atlas's orbit lies almost flat along the ecliptic plane, tilted by only 5 degrees. That is rare. Most interstellar objects enter at steep, irregular angles. Atlas, in contrast, is gliding along the very orbital corridor humanity has long used to send probes to the outer planets. A trajectory uncannily similar to the flight path of an artificial mission. Of course, to imply intent is dangerous. The official line holds firm. Atlas is a comet, strange but still random, not the product of intelligence. Yet within closed research groups, the tone is shifting. Leaked emails reveal growing unease. The data no longer fits any known model. Researchers speak of mysterious dips in its spectral curves, thermal signatures that vary too rapidly, organic molecules in forms rarely found in nature. The language used is cautious, anomalous, peculiar, unclassified. No one wishes to say outright what they are thinking, but the pressure is mounting. And then the question emerges. What happens when an object arrives from the stars that refuses to fit any of our categories? When science cannot say with certainty what it is or what it isn't, the line between curiosity and concern begins to blur. And in the silence from NASA, amid waves of speculation, a new possibility arises. Not in the data, but in the gaps between the data. What if Atlas is not merely a strange comet, but something we have never seen before? Now, as it nears perihelion, we too are preparing for a phase of signal loss from Earth. In the blazing glare of the sun, 3IATLAS will vanish from humanity's sight. And it is precisely in that span of time the most violent, the most intense, that we may miss everything, or perhaps miss something that was never meant to be seen. For what we gather now is not just data, but a mosaic with missing pieces. And the pieces absent may not belong to the rules we know, but to an order far older or entirely alien. October 31. That is the destined moment. 3IATLAS will reach perihelion, its closest approach to the Sunday, a moment both silent and blazing. At that distance, solar radiation turns destructive. Temperatures soar to the absurd. Dust disintegrates. Ice vaporizes in an instant. Fragile structures collapse. But whether Atlas is fragile, resilient, or even natural at all, no one knows. Some believe it will shatter completely, torn apart by heat and gravity, as comets Ison and Elenin once were. Others predict a colossal outburst, a violent eruption that could cause its coma to balloon in seconds, glowing so brightly it might be visible from Earth even through the sun's glare. Yet there is another, bolder hypothesis, that this object will pass through the furnace intact, unscathed, as though built to endure it. And if that happens, humanity will face questions more difficult than ever before. During perihelion, Earth will be blind. The sun will block the view. Instruments will be overwhelmed by its brilliance, forced into silence. We will lose track of the object at the very moment it might reveal its true nature. There will be no live broadcast, no clear imagery, only indirect observations from solar monitoring spacecraft, such as SOHO and Stereo. These satellites have watched dozens of comets skim past the sun, most disintegrated, some vanished, and only the rarest survived. The question is, which fate will Atlas choose? From Mars, orbiters may still record fragments of the story. Their sensors will continue to track and transmit for weeks, but the limitations are obvious. If Atlas were to change suddenly, splinter, shift course, accelerate, we might not realize it in time. And yet, in all of this, there lingers a strange stillness, a sense of inevitability. For once it slips behind the sun, its fate will be sealed. Irrevocable. If it survives, Atlas will return weeks later, dimmer, fading, moving outward toward Jupiter, then the edge of the solar system, before vanishing into the void. It will never return. This is our one and only moment. Observers wait for signs. If it fractures, the pattern of debris will reveal its inner structure. If the coma shifts abruptly, it may expose hidden vents or concealed energy sources. If the orbit wavers, it could point to forces unknown. Tiny details could carry immense meaning. And if nothing happens, then that too will be a message. For Atlas has never been ordinary. Its premature brightening, its spectral anomalies, its path skimming the inner planets, none of these are footnotes. They are warnings that we are standing before a phenomenon beyond every definition we have. They are messages, and the silence surrounding them is no accident. This moment, the instant the object passes through the flame, is the turning point. After this, we may never see it clearly again. It will become yet another enigma, a fleeting apparition, archived in fragments of data, filed away as an anomalous visitor, then slowly forgotten. Unless we choose to look deeper or something forces us to. For whether it shatters or flares, fades or endures, 3IATLAS is still telling a story with its dust and its light. And we are standing on the very edge of that story, backs turned to the fire, waiting for something no one can explain. Perhaps it is nothing more than a rock, a frozen wanderer flung across the galaxy by some ancient, nameless force. Perhaps every anomaly is just turbulence, coincidence, error, a comet behaving in ways we simply haven't witnessed before. That is the safe explanation, the one that lets us sleep. But perhaps not, because Atlas has not behaved as predicted. It brightened too soon. It has moved with a chilling precision. It swept past the planets in sequence, and now it is racing straight toward the sun, on a trajectory uncannily aligned with the flight paths we once gave to our probes. And the silence, perhaps the most unnatural signal of all, has accompanied it from the beginning. If this is only debris, why does it feel deliberate? Why does every step seem preordained? Why does each measurement yield more questions than answers? And why, at the very climax of its journey, do we look away? We know what comets look like. We know what they usually do. But this object is different, and if you can feel that deep beneath the data, beneath the explanations, you are not alone. The truth is, the universe owes us no clarity. It owes us only wonder. And this object, whether natural or not, ancient or intentional, has delivered exactly that. It reminds us that space is not empty, that silence does not mean absence, that sometimes things arrive unannounced without pattern, without clear origin, things that force us to question what we thought was fixed, what we thought was ours. Perhaps Atlas will ignite and disintegrate at perihelion, scattering its secrets as dust. Perhaps it will survive and drift away, revealing nothing more. Or perhaps, from the beginning, this was never about what it leaves behind, but about what it has seen. And if that is true, if this visitor is not merely passing through, but watching us, then we must think beyond spectra and velocity. We must consider the possibility that we are the ones being observed. Watch the skies in the weeks ahead, for something has just passed by our home, and it did not come in silence. If this mystery stirs you, if the stillness between stars makes you wonder who or what might be out there, then stay. Share your thoughts, because 3I divided by Atlas may soon depart, but the questions it leaves behind have only just begun.